Hello, hello, hello. All right, so usually if you want a masterclass in media empire building, you'd look to the likes of Disney, Nintendo, Sanrio, Sony, the greats. But these have all been top-down. They basically created the idea of a walled garden. They own the IP, they control the distribution, and the fans, they're essentially just spectators. In Web3, blockchain provides us the rails to be able to reimagine media as bottom-up, community-owned. A decentralized media empire where fans can be consumers as well as creators, partners, even part owners in the business and so on. So today we're going to unpack a case study. And we're lucky enough to have Brian from Abstract Chain, and we've got Cheryl and Aaron from Pengu Asia, which is Igloo APAC, and we'll dive into the difference there. But they are representing the Pudgy Penguins community in Asia, and we're going to learn from them on how you could actually look to Igloo in future for a masterclass on building media from the ground up. So just before we kick us off, I want to share some stats that I pulled from a recent CoinDesk research report on Pudgy Penguins, which you have to download. It's an absolutely fantastic deep dive report. When I say deep dive, I mean dupe. So Pudgy's achieved over 65 billion Giphy views. That's more than double the reach.
Yes.
Of the likes of Pokemon and Disney. I think that proves that IP can dominate the attention economy without traditional TV or movie distribution. The brand has a presence in over 10,000 retail locations globally, and Pudgy is trading at an implied 1.1 billion FDV, which is 22x on revenue. Now, just to put that into context, that's nearly 10 times higher than the likes of Disney, which is around 2.5x. So this kind of valuation suggests that the market is seeing you as a tech platform, not just a media company. And that's why I wanted to start with you, Brian, because I think this is really interesting, right? Like the likes of Disney, companies like that, they've looked into things like building their own tech, building their own infra, trying to control all the distribution, but they found that it was kind of an expensive distraction. But I think for you guys, Abstract is the backbone of this economy, right? It's absolutely crucial to the vision. So can you walk us through that? What is the vision for Abstract? And look, honestly, if you've got such a powerful community in IP, why not just launch it on another chain? Why do you need your own?
Yeah, Abstract is a consumer chain, and we serve to not only onboard Web2 users, but also companies and enterprises that are interested in tapping into the Web3 community. And so far, we have onboarded Disney, Ultraman, and a couple of top K-pop studios that is willing to use the crypto rail. And on Abstract, we have one of the easiest 0 to 1 onboarding experience. People can create a wallet with their Google account, and on a single website, it looks like an Apple App Store. And about 500,000 people come to one single website every single month. And if we put them on a highlight page, there's about 40 to 50% conversion rate. So from a traditional IP and traditional enterprises perspective, when they put an ad on Instagram or other ad pages, the conversion rate is less than 1%. But if they work with Abstract and tap into the crypto rail, the conversion rate is really high. So instead of them going to the Web2 audience, they want to integrate the crypto rails to have a more conversion rate, because right now in Web2, the conversion rate is very low and the cost efficiency is going down every single day. So that is one of the ways that they're tapping into the Web3 ecosystem.
Cool. And I guess Abstract is also theoretically open. And at the moment, this is really the rails for the Pudgy IP and your community. But is the idea for it to be a consensus layer that maybe other brands could come on and join you in future? I mean, I'd be really interested to understand the vision there, like where you're at and where you're going.
Yeah. Abstract really started off as from the Pudgy community, and Pudgy community has been very helpful in really starting Abstract. And because Pudgy, one of the biggest crypto brand and a crypto IP brand, is on Abstract, a lot of different IPs and the enterprises are looking into the ecosystem because we have such a great example, which is Pudgy Penguins, and their number of views, the revenue that they're generating through the crypto community. So they're really benchmarking Pudgy Penguins and learning from them.
Just before we go further, we actually touched on this in the intro. There's a lot of moving parts to the Igloo ecosystem. Do you want to just give us a really quick I guess, introduction to Igloo APAC and how that fits into the ecosystem, just before we go any further, so people can kind of understand how this empire is building up.
Yeah, I think I can answer that. So
Yeah.
I'm Aaron from Igloo. So essentially, I mean, Pudgy started as an NFT project, right? Ever since we evolved into a global IP empire, and the way we structure it behind the scene is that Igloo Inc. is the parent company that holds Pudgy Penguins US, and also Igloo APAC, which is both Sharon and I are directors of. And obviously, we also own other entities that also contribute to Abstract Chain as well. So that's how the whole thing's structured. And obviously, Sharon and I, we jointly lead the whole APAC territory, including in Middle East as well. So, but yeah, the brand has grown to a stage where we are no longer just NFT, right?
Yeah.
We sell physical products. We do content. We do our mobile games. So yeah, we touch a bit of everything. And obviously, part of the family, we have our own infra that we want to own, the experience through Abstract. So happy to see, where this vision going to be shaped, through this, a couple of years of grinding. So.
And so you've got this centralized leadership team, which I think is really
Yep.
important for being able to set the vision and make sure that you're actually staying on track with the direction that you want to go. But you've also got this massive community of holders, not just NFTs now, but also holders of the Pengu token. And I know it's like really important to you guys that you are actually including them in building this company. So how do you balance that with a bottom-up organization and community? If you're kind of giving up the rights to say no to people, like how they use the brand,
Sure, you want to take that?
this seems like such a big issue.
Yeah, so we have this thing called like Pengu everywhere. So we actually wanted everyone to love the brand and also to go for the blue penguin. So if you think about mouse, the most popular mouse is Mickey Mouse, right? The most popular duck is Donald Duck. But when it comes to penguin, there's still no one is anchoring this. So with the Web2 followers that we have 2 million, on IG, on TikTok, everywhere, we're now taking care of like the Web2 community, where we have another set of like a team that's taking care of them. And while our team, we have to take like, we're 2.5, right? So we have to take care of both of them. So this year is really special year because this is the first time when we merge. We always say that we try to onboard millions from Web2, but this year we are out there. Miami Art Basel in December, we actually do some big events. A lot of Web2, like people come in and love the brand. So they love the brand, and I think about 2 or 3 days ago, we launched a Valentine's bouquet flowers, Pudgy.
Of course you
5,000
did.
of them, yeah. It's sold out. It's like sold out in just a few minutes. So that's a huge, huge demand in Web2. So we're going to push more on that on the Web2. Web3, we're taking care of the NFT holders, the Pengu holders. Last week, we were in Malaysia for Kuala Lumpur with Jupiter. We gave like free Dragon VIP tickets for the NFT holders. We take over the whole ice rink, and Pudgy was there. So the Web2 and Web3 people, like, they come in together. They love the brand. They love the penguin. It's all about love. And I think Pudgy really, I think we're taking over the world by love, right? So it's about relationship. And I remember Lucas saying one thing that, hey, this is Pudgy IG is actually a risk tool. A lot of guys or like girls will send it over to each other and say this is how relatable we are. So last 2 years we have been building on Abstract, building on infrastructure, but this year we're going hard on IP, physical, the emotional attachment, and also the sense of belonging.
Yeah, I just want to add on like every couple of years we will update a brand Bible. So this year we actually have a new brand Bible. Internally it's like 300 pages long. I think that is super important when it comes to really running an IP empire, because like what you said, right, the community can interpret the IP the way they want.
Absolutely,
And will not be
yeah.
consistent. So I think the brand Bible is the most fundamental thing that, if you guys want to learn, come up with your own brand Bible, because I think the penguin have to look the same everywhere, whether it's in Asia or in Europe or in America. And I think what I realized is that Web3 is very small, right? I think Web3 has a distribution problem, because if you see how Pudgy grow, we actually grow through Web2 channels, right? Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, right? And
But I think it's not like Web3 brands haven't tried those channels, but they just don't seem to
See,
be.
yeah.
yeah.
having the level of success that you guys have. So
Exactly.
what do you think is different?
I think it's the team, right? I think we do have a rock star team. Like everyone who's in the founding team were previously super successful, right, in internet businesses, like whether it's e-commerce or celebrity or whatever, right? So I think even for myself and Cheryl, like we come from Web 2. I run a digital media empire in Malaysia before, so we understand how things go viral.
Yeah.
I think all these skill sets are super lacking in Web 3 because everyone treat every single Web 3 product as an extraction vehicle, right? I
Yeah.
just launched a product to extract liquidity from the users. But I think the way we do is that we don't think Web3 has mass distribution yet. That's why, back to your first question, like at least from Pudgy, we really want to go out there and meet where the customers are and where the users are.
Well, and it sounds like, if I may say, you're not being condescending to the Web2 audience. Like the way that you just described it, Cheryl, it sounded like that is a different market, not merely the top of the funnel for the Web3 end use case, which that may well be, but you're meeting them where they are, as you mentioned. I want to chat about the Asia strategy, because you guys are obviously doubling down on Asia, and we're here in Hong Kong. One of the key things I wanted to ask you about is, I think Asia has this higher cultural affinity for digital characters. I think you see that with things like, Line Friends, Kakao Friends, they're multi-billion-dollar giants. I think it's like a $15.4 billion collectibles market, just like between Korea and Japan. But if you look at the West, like emojis are just punctuations, right? So I was wondering, how are you tailoring your strategy to be able to capitalize on that?
We do a lot of GIF. That's our powerful tool. So a lot of people say that, hey, I do not know what Pudgy Penguins is, but whenever we see a GIF, we're always in trending. We're always in like top 10 or top 5 or top 3, right?
Yeah.
This is one of the ways that we capture. As long as they are, people having mobiles, that's when we're gonna capture the market really, really good. The emotional attachment, so the 8 places that we always go, you see us on Billboard, you see us on the bus, you see us on TikTok, on media, on WhatsApp messaging, Telegram stickers, all of that. At every touch points, you can see Pangu. So like with this Pangu, we felt like it really grouped everyone together, and now it's more about AI world, about robotics world. That personal touch become much more precious than ever.
And so that's the culture, content, community side. Brian, what does the Asia strategy look like from the tech side?
From a tech side, I think it kind of resonates what Cheryl said. While Asia is the fastest growing crypto market, Asia is a pretty challenging market to penetrate because of the cultural and the social fragmentation. What Korea likes is very different from what Japan likes. What Japan likes is very different from what China likes, and et cetera, et cetera. So from Abstract's perspective, we have to bring culturally relevant IPs and apps to the chain in order for Abstract to scale. And for Pudgy side, whenever we bring like a K-pop studios or K-pop IPs or Ultraman or potentially Disney, it could cross-pollinate with the Pudgy community. So in the future, you might be able to see where the community that is coming from the Web 2 side is being cross-pollinated with the Pudgy community. So in the future, there could be potential synergy on top of that.
Are you allowed to say anything about the Lion partnership? I think that came out this week, right?
Yeah, I mean, last year we dropped an announcement that we are partnering with Minini, which is part of the Line Friends family. Well, we're looking at maybe a Q2 where we're going to drop the actual product.
Nice.
And it's not going to be just online. It's going to be also offline at some of the major Asia cities that you know of. So I think that's something that we are super proud of, and we're going to do it more this year. Last year, we actually dropped Fabric collectible. Fabric is really NFT before crypto. and that's a Japanese company. So I think a lot of what both Sharon and I do is that we know that, okay, no matter how popular Pudgy is online, we still lack, we are not mature enough when it comes to retail distribution in Asia, right? And all of these brands like Line Friends, Fabric, all these even hopefully one day Popmark, Labubu, right? They have insane amount of distribution when it comes to commerce, right? People actually buy the product. People buy all sorts of IP, and people wear all sorts of IP. And then when I go to Korea last year, I saw even guys wear like key rings of IP characters, right? So
Where's yours?
yeah, she stole mine. No, just kidding. But yeah, I think I think this is where Pudgy belongs. I think Asia is where Pudgy belongs. If one day Pudgy Penguins became a $100 billion brand, we truly believe that APAC is really the dominant driver of that. And obviously, we still have the crypto DNA. And what does it mean? It really means that every single holder, right? Whether you're a Pengu holder or you're an NFT holder, you are not a customer. You're really a line stakeholder, right? So you have skin in the game. So it's not just Luca or Cheryl or Lorenzo or Brian, in a boardroom, strategizing stuff, right? It's really that how can we get 10,000 aligned holders to strategize together. In fact, every single month we have this decentralized town hall meeting in Discord where people can give us idea, feedback. They might even complain that, hey, that event was not really good, right? So I think this kind of culture is very different than a lot of Web2 brands. So I think it's because of these ingredients we are successful, right? Because I think Pudgy or Igloo as a company is not even 5 years old. I think we are less than 5 years old. But just now the stats that you pull, all these stats are, we outperform all the 30, 40, 50 years IP empire. So I believe this should be the blueprint of how a modern day IP empire going to operate in the future.
You just mentioned the importance of these physical products and the offline strategy as well. And I think you've moved like more than 1 million plushies through the physical outlets. I was just interested, when you sell one of those plushies, like how do you actually think about the success measurement? Like, is it actually the revenue that you're getting from selling these plushies, or are you thinking more like lifetime value of a digital wallet when you actually get someone converting over to it? And what is the conversion rate like?
Yeah, I do have an answer for this because I was thinking about this week. Because there's, in Web3, there's a lot of dashboard you can measure revenue per user, you can measure CTA, whatever measurement you have. But there's no dashboard that you can measure brand love. Right? I think when a parent buy a Pudgy Penguins plush and the kid hug the plush to sleep, there's no dashboard measuring that, right? I think brand love is something that we should figure a way to measure. Because if you really bring a blue plush or any Pudgy Penguins plush to any family, every single kid will like, hey, dad, mom, I want that plush. Right?
I've seen people on crypto Twitter saying like, my mum just sent me a Pudgy Penguins gift, like
exactly, right?
without knowing what it is, and now I'm telling her all about like Web3 and how to buy one of the NFTs.
Exactly, I think
it's a great Trojan horse.
Correct. Yeah. People really love the penguin, and I think in the first couple of years we don't really know why. Now we've seen it everywhere. I mean, you can ask 10 of your friends who are not in crypto. I believe 6 out of 10 probably seen it before, and they actually love it.
Yeah.
So I think this is exciting for both Cheryl and I because we know that there's so much more to do, right? Whatever that we accomplish, I think we're just touching the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to be done, and it's really our mission to bring all these products to people's hands who actually love them.
So just before we move off the Asia discussion, I think a lot of Western projects that, they come out of the US, they come to Asia, and they kind of see it as a localization project. It's like, well, what do we got there, and we just need to translate it for Asia. But I feel like with you guys, it's more like Asia is a hub for R&D, where you're actually creating something brand new. I guess it could be likened to something like free-to-play models in gaming, where they didn't take off in the West first. It took China and Korea to adopt it, build it, advance it, and then the rest of the world caught on. My question to you was going to be, do you think that Pudgy could do the same for bottom-up, community-owned IP? I know the answer will be yes. So, how do you see something like that happening? And I guess, what could the timeline for world domination be?
Yeah, of course. So our case study, we always refer back to what really worked. Hello Kitty took about 30 years, right, to be where they are. Mickey Mouse is 100 years. So we are in between Line Friends and Hello Kitty. So we got into a very sweet spot. So both of them do not have a story. We don't have a story to begin with. There's no lore. How Hello Kitty did was a product. So they're product-based. And Line is a sticker-based, where we are really good at the GIF. So on digital and physical, we really conquered this too. But no one has conquered that sweet spot between both of it. Asia become a pilot. It's usually even by cost. Remember, we have this partnership with Cost, and Cost say that, hey, we have to start from Hong Kong. We have to start from Asia, because they feel like IP works here. IP is a thing in Asia. So there's a lot of pilot program that we started from Asia, and the rest of the world follow. So we can see so we're moving towards this kind of projection this year, and if we do everything successfully, I don't think we have to take 10 years. I think that's another 5 years and we can take over the world.
Bullish.
With the community that's building so strong. And one thing that we felt difference between the Hello Kitty fandom and the Line Friends fandom, this community of Pudgy or Pangu, everyone has a financial incentive, right? So if only a Hello Kitty, if Hello Kitty wins, great, right? But for us, if Pangu wins and they earn money, they're gonna shout louder, they're gonna vote harder, they're gonna push even harder. So what can beat that? What I can see is only Pangu.
Yeah, it's a fundamentally different way to the way that we see any of these IP empires. Okay, so talking about IP empires, and of course everybody does love to compare you guys to Disney. I think one of the key pillars for them is their theme parks. And I love that, I think it was Korea Blockchain Week, you came up with this idea of a decentralized theme park where, you could have these pop-up experiences, or maybe a cafe, or a video game shop, or something like computer shop that was like part of this decentralized theme park ecosystem. But real talk, how do you actually control the quality for something like that? How do you create these experiences? How do you inject the storytelling into it that someone would expect when they come to Disneyland? How do you do that? Is it the brand Bible?
It has to be a brand Bible.
Okay.
I think.
So what's the chapter on theme parks?
Yeah.
Decentralized theme parks.
Well, I mean, we haven't confirmed anything about theme park, but we do get things to our table about theme park. So to me, is that we're still very young. Obviously, I would say 80% of all this work is still very centralized. Our creative team is really good, led by Peter in the US. A lot of things that we do, we try to own it, right? We try to own it through the brand Bible. If there are help needed from the community side, the brand Bible have to be communicated clearly, right? So at least they all know if they can contribute, but they have to contribute with a certain standard that we expect. So, funny thing you mentioned about Korea, I think Korea is one of our biggest market. We are looking at a lot of interesting stuff there, including F&B and stuff like that. So, hopefully this year, before end of the year, we could do some pop-up similarly there, right?
Cool.
Line Friends is, from Korea. So, I don't want to review too much now because I think it's.
He almost. He almost.
This is dangerous. This is dangerous.
Leak.
Yeah, this is dangerous. You ask great questions. But I will say this, right? I think this year you'll see us do a lot of experiential retail experiences, like whether it's in Korea or Hong Kong, or even close to home, Malaysia, where we are based usually. Thailand is a market that we are looking at as well, right? I think back to what Brian said earlier is that APAC is just not. It's not a single market, right? It's like market with different culture and different nuances. I think like Japan, you really need to invest more in storytelling the IP. So, because the reward of that, you get super loyal IP consumer, right? In Korea, it's very trendy. You have to be sparse and trendy. In China, whatever you do have to be at scale, right? Because you have a whole market there. In Thailand, it's up and coming. I believe in Thailand, the next 3 years, you have like Tomorrowland's happening end of this year. You have like F1. You have all this cool festival happening in Thailand. And I think Pop Mart has a big retail outlet in Thailand as well. So yeah, I think our job is super cool because we get to really, think of ways to really capture all this market. And every single market is very different. And I think I just want to circle back to your original question, which is, I think a lot of Web3 projects look at Asia as expansion, right? I put out a tweet, I translate to Chinese, to Korean, and Japan, that's my Asia plan.
I feel like that's even advanced. Sometimes they just go, we're going to Asia as a market. It's like, that's not
There's an interesting case study. There's an interesting case study between Grab versus Uber in Southeast Asia. Because Grab is a merchant company. So, Grab actually won the war, right? Uber is an American company, but Grab actually Uber actually considered defeat and say, hey, Grab, just buy my business in Southeast Asia, and then I'll just have a passive stake. So I guess, this is how we win in Asia. We have to go bottom up, to be honest. We have to be super localized. What's true in the US or in the West will not apply in Asia. And that's why we have a 3 Asian team located in Asia running things. Obviously, we are still the minority in the company. We still need more Asian in the team in Igloo. But I think all of us here are doing, like what you say, R&Ding a lot of these new ideas. And then we are the one that presenting to the US, say, hey, this is how it's done, right? In fact, a lot of the Western team actually asked us, can I use your design? Can I use your playbook? Can I do that? So I think personally, I'm really proud, I believe Cheryl as well, that we really show the world that Asia matters and the way we do things is not always inferior, but actually superior as well.
You should be proud. All right, we're running out of time, but I think I've got enough for just one last question. I want your wildest prediction. So for a little kid today, if they're growing up in 20, 30 years, what will be their experience of interacting with their favorite characters? How different will it be in the future if you have achieved all of your goals in terms of completely inverting the media model and making sure that the future is built on community-owned IP? What do you think that could look like?
I'll go last. So.
Brian.
From my perspective, I think the digital ownership will be natively embedded characteristic. Right now, it's Pudgy kind of pioneering where when they buy a plushie or any collectibles, there's an NFT attached to it, and we think it's a unique feature, right? But in the future, I think the digital ownership will be the natively embedded feature. For example, if you're using Instagram or YouTube, we don't care which cloud we are using. We don't really care. The users don't care. The consumers don't care. But crypto will serve as a backend and the rail that powers these IPs and infrastructure and the fandom managements. So in the future, our children, our next generation will take that as granted and native feature.
Well, I'm going to keep it short. For me, maybe I'm a girl. I feel like Pudgy is a companion for me. I hope in the future, if what we can see Pudgy is a friend, well, loneliness is #1 silent killer.
Yeah.
So I felt whenever I scan, especially in Web3, there's a lot of things that I couldn't tell my parents, I couldn't tell my Web2. It's only Pudgy that go through with me through ups and downs, and I hope that, if this ever been a thing, it will be a friendly companion that always with you.
Oh, stop it, you're going to make me cry.
Oh.
That's a good answer. I think when all said and done, if I have my way, I think Pudgy only represents 2 things. It's really love and community, right? I think this is the best adjective to describe Pudgy Penguins today. Love is very simple. Whether you're a young person or you're an old person or you're a guy and girl relationship, we hope that Pudgy Penguins is the symbol for that, of relationship. Or our Instagram about relationship between the blue and the pink penguin. And there's so much things to do. And in fact, we have a lot of sales data to support that people actually would buy all the products of that kind of angle. Another part is community, right? Because you have a lot of big IP empire, but not a single one that really focus on community building from the ground up. I think that's a niche that we can dominate. Internally this year, we're going to experiment something cool this year, is that we're going to be part of a lot of social play space, right? For example, pickleball is a sport that it's one of the fastest rising sports in the world today. It might be an Olympic sport. It's really, whether you're young or you're old, you play pickleball, right? And then it's a very community-driven sport. So I think these are the 2 areas that we want to dominate mindshare. And hopefully, I don't know what the tech will bring us one day, right? Maybe 10 years later, there's humanoids, penguinoids, that we can be a companion. I don't know. But what I do know is that Pudgy Penguins fill in the void of community and love.
Guys, this is absolutely amazing talk. I cannot wait for the day when we hear everyone unpacking the masterclass on Igloo as the global media empire that everyone else wants to be like. Congratulations on all your success, and thanks for a great chat.
Thank you so much, guys.